We've got two breaks on tap for tonight. One is an autographed basketball jersey from Gold Rush, and the other is Heritage Baseball. We're going to go over some pre-break information here before we get started ripping into things. So let's get rolling with that. Feedback, 100% automated on eBay so that you never have to wait on me. Anytime you leave positive feedback for me, you're going to instantly get positive feedback in return through the wonders of automation. Go automation. And of course, the other message there is to say thank you. I do appreciate you being here on this Saturday night, spending part of your weekend with me. And of course, always appreciate those who bid and break and chat and hang out with me. Now, our upcoming breaks. You know what? I messed up here. I forgot about daylight savings time. Yes, I did. So when I was listing all these things, 1, 2, 3, last 4 days, right? I forgot that when I was listing them, it looked like they were going to end at our normal time around 8:30, and our break was going to be at 9:30. Guess what? That hour shift means, they don't end until 9:30, and a couple of nights they don't end until like 9:35, 9:36, so we can't start our break at 9:30 when we still have some of the auctions live. So for Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night, all of those breaks are going to have to shift a little bit. And as soon as I can get the invoices out after those last auctions end, we'll roll right on into our breaks. But I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere in the 9:45 to 9:50 time frame each of those nights due to that time shift. So be aware of that. I think if you guys are subscribed to the channel, it will notify you when I go live. But otherwise, just be aware, even though it says 9:30, if I've still got auctions ending at 9:30, 9:35, etc., we obviously can't start right at 9:30, but I will as quickly as I can after that. So tomorrow night, Leaf Autograph full-size football helmet, Leaf Best of Basketball, and a 20-box master case of Contenders Optic Football. Monday night, second case of Encased Football and a half case of Donruss Baseball, which is the back half of a case that we already started. Tuesday, new release day for Leaf. Oddly enough, on a Tuesday, they're releasing Valiant Baseball. So we'll open a full case of that on Tuesday night, along with a case of Select Basketball. Wednesday, we don't have any new releases on Wednesday of this upcoming week, so we'll open Valiant again, and we'll open a 10-box inner case of Contenders Optic Football. On Thursday, a Leaf Autograph football jersey, Onyx Preferred Players Autograph baseballs, another 3-box full inner case. And then 2019 Donruss Baseball, we'll do another break of that half case again, and it will be the start of a new case. So here's what you need to know for tonight. We've got one free shipping break, one paid shipping break. Our free shipping break is, of course, the Gold Rush Autograph basketball jersey. The free stuff, guys, always projected to go out about a week after the fact. Most of the time it goes out faster than that. Often it goes out a lot faster than that. That just means it should not go out to you any later than Saturday the 16th, a week from today. It will almost certainly get out the door faster. Our paid shipping breaks for tonight, that's Heritage Baseball, projected to be on the way to you on or before Wednesday. Consolation cards don't come into play for Heritage Baseball. Every team will pull cards in there. However, it does come into play for the Gold Rush basketball jersey. If your team is not the team that is pulled, you are still entitled to a consolation trading card. It can be from any year and any series. Because those are free shipping breaks, typically I would just hold on to your consolation card until the next time you have a package headed your way. At that point, I'd gather up any that you're due, send them all at once, and I do keep track of it for a rolling 90-day period. If, though, you don't want to wait for it, you're in that basketball jersey break and you want it sent sooner, you just shoot me a little message on eBay, let me know, and I will get you hooked up. First up tonight, 2019 Gold Rush Autograph Basketball Jersey. This is break number 2. The eBay end date, of course, is tonight, Saturday night, the 9th of March. And we are looking at team names on the left, winning bidders there on the right-hand side. We had one team in here that did not sell. That's the Brooklyn Nets. And you will see it as noted there is no bids buyback. Everything else has got a bidder name across from the team name. Got a possibility of a couple of multi-signed jerseys in this product. One is the Houston Cougars. That had its own bidding spot. The other one is a Phi Slamma Jamma multi-signed jersey. It also has its own bidding spot. So if we were to be lucky enough to pull one of those two, it would go to that specific bidding spot, whichever one it happened to be. All right. So you might have noticed there that the background went very slightly out of focus. That's on purpose. Don't give that a second thought. We'll be good to go. You'll be able to see everything just fine. So in chat, we have Jordan is here and Alan J is here. Hi, Alan J and Jordan. How are you all tonight? It's kind of a rainy, stormy night here. We've got we've had thunderstorms today, heavy rain, crazy wind. Hopefully we are going to manage to keep all of our electricity and everything. But if we should have something weird happen, just know I would get back on live as quickly as I could if something happened to the power. This is a JSA authenticated. There is your paperwork to go with it, a JSA sticker. There is your signature, and it's a Hardaway jersey here for the Golden State Warriors. A little signed Hardaway jersey. I'm trying to get that where you can see the front. Of course, these are custom jerseys, as a lot of times they are. Sometimes we find the officially licensed versions, but often they are the custom. So there's one more look at the signature. Once again, JSA sticker to match your JSA authentication card. And the Golden State Warriors taking that one home tonight. And we're going to be headed right into Heritage Baseball. I didn't schedule much in front of it tonight because it's kind of a long break. Most of you guys probably know that. I think everyone most likely saw this a moment ago. If you didn't, please take a moment, glance up there, read through it, hit me up with any questions. And this will be the back half of a case. Or actually, I'm sorry, this is the start of a new case. I'm thinking of Donruss when I'm saying the back half. Let's back that up, walk it back. This is the start of a new case of 2019 Heritage Baseball, and it is a half case break number 3. Team names on the left, winning bidders are across from it there on the right hand side. We had one team that did not find a forever home in here. That's the Marlins. It got no bids, so any and all Marlins type cards are going to hang out here with me since that is an unsold team. Now what I'm going to do, because this is the start of a new case, I'm actually going to take all 12 boxes out of here, and I will number each of them on the end. Well, if I can get through all the tape, I guess. And then I will use random.org to determine which of the 6 were, of these 12, which 6 we're going to open tonight and which 6 will be part of our next break. So that will take us a minute here if you hang tight. I've got to get it all out and then get it all numbered, and then we'll be ready to go. I know. I'm working on it. Slowly but surely we get there. But truthfully, there is nothing fast about breaking Heritage. I bet you guys all know that already. It has got a lot of base cards in this set, and it takes a long time to get through it all. So settle in, bring a snack. You're going to be here a while. All right, so they're all numbered, and now we'll use random to sort it out. Oh, shoot. All right, so here we go. We're going to be taking, when we do this, it's going to be the first 6 numbers. We're going to open those corresponding 6 boxes. So it gives us 3, 11, 7, 1, 6, and 5. So 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 11. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 11. All right. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7. Let me get the rest of these out of the way here. There is box number 11. Let me get the other half of the case put back in the case. I'll be right back with you. Okay, I think we are ready to rock and roll. Alan J., you need the Mets, the Brewers, and the Astros mojo. All right. And Steve is here. Steve is hoping to get a dual signed Kansas City Royals card. So he's working the mojo for the Royals. We get a few sleeves here on the table for us. And we're about ready to roll here. Now, there are a lot of short print cards in here. And some of them I may recognize as they go by. A lot of them I'm probably not going to catch until I do the sort. And they're basically, I think, what do they start with? Number 401? Is that right? I think they start with card 401 in the series, and upward are the ones that are technically the short prints. And then, of course, we've got other things in here, too. We've got action image variations. Those are usually a little easier to spot. And they will also, when we throw them or turn them over, we would have that written up there. It would say, action or something, I think. And then we would have throwback uniforms. We did actually pull one of those out of our very first break of this year. And it also on the back, which says throwback. And there are some other variations. There's a variety of things that happen in here. There's nickname variations. Those would usually be a little easier to spot. There can be like a team, what I would call a color swap variation, where the team name is in a different color than it typically is. That can be something that's pulled. And some of that we might see as we go along, and some of that I might not catch until I sort. If I see it as I go through, I will absolutely hit you up and let you know that. And if I don't catch it until I sort, well, of course, I'll point it out when we go through the sort. So that's essentially everything ships, all the cards ship. As always, if something doesn't ship, it will tell you that in my description. So in that spot where you have the big blue letters, like the biggest typeface on the page, where it comes up and tells you, hey, this is what we're breaking, this is the quantity, this is the date, this is the time, and all that jazz. It's right there in that spot. If we ever have a situation where maybe base cards don't ship, or veteran base doesn't ship, or whatever it might be, it's always going to tell you that in that little spot. The other thing to know here about Heritage is that we have box loaders. And it can be what we're going to see here in a minute, an original card from 1970, a literal 1970 card that Topps has bought back and put a 50th anniversary stamp on and included it in the product. Now, when we find that particular box topper, those are often pretty heavily worn, because they really have been around, floating around in circulation since 1970. So they're often miscut by a lot. They may have some creases in them I've seen before. They have, fuzzy, soft edges and corners and all kinds of things. So those don't usually come out minty mint or even close to it. But they are kind of fun to check out. We can find some oversized cards that are box loaders. And what else? Poster. Sometimes you find a poster. Those usually would be about one per case. We will find, as far as our hits in here, one autograph card and one relic. So it's like an either or kind of situation is what we're looking for in terms of our hit in each of these boxes. And I imagine most of you have opened Heritage a lot in the past, so you kind of are aware that it doesn't always come out with tons of autographs. Sometimes it's equally split autographs and relics. Sometimes it leans a little more towards one way or the other, but that's the basic stuff. Okay, so our buyback here is 1970 Rookie Stars for the Red Sox. You can see that 50th anniversary stamped down there. And as predicted, this is well loved and well worn. I mean, your corners are a mess, and it's terribly miscut, and it's definitely had some love in its day. But I think, you know, they give us those just as little bonuses, little extras, I guess, to give us a piece of nostalgia, if you will. So the first little box loader there is off and running for the Red Sox. Sign of the Dimes is here looking for the hand-numbered signature that's always in red. So he's looking for that, which is nice. And Barron is telling us that short prints are often the 5th card of the pack. So, okay, well, that is good to know. So, strikeout leaders, listen, we're going to find lots of cards that have multiple teams on them. And each time we find one of those, they're going to sit right up there in that housekeeping area. Now, the reason they set up there in that housekeeping area, I think that's just the base, but I'm double checking. Yes, it is. Because obviously, right, more than one team on the card, we're going to have to give it a home. And we will do that using random.org at the end of the break. And there'll be a variety of them up there. Some of them will have 3 teams on it. Some may have 5 teams on it. There are some that have 4 teams on it. And this is what I was talking about where it says action back there. So that's how you know this is the action image variation. Now most of those, again, I don't know why that sleeve is not cooperating, we can find without much trouble. Those tend to stand out a little more. But every once in a while I flip one over because I'm not 100% sure if it's one, and I double check it. And obviously we can tell by that little code on the back. And then the other short prints, once again, that are in pretty heavy supply are the ones that are, I call them the high numbers, because basically they start with 401 and go onward. We'll also find an insert set in here, like a news highlight reel type insert set. And all of those will be stacked up there in housekeeping, and they will be given out all at once to one single team, those little news highlight cards. When we see one, I'll show it to you because they're non-baseball subject matter. So that's basically what you need to know about those. And I'm trying to think what else. Then and Now, of course, obviously you just saw one. This one has both Red Sox on it, so it does not have to go over here. However, I'm going to keep it up there anyway, just that way all the Then and Nows are together in one spot. And again, those will be given out by way of random. And I think that's most of the news to use here for Heritage Baseball. I think that's the vast majority of the highlight reel. I'm sure if we come across something else that is different, I'll let you know. Some of these, again, I know I'm flipping some of these. That's just to double check that it's not an image variation. I've opened so much stuff lately between this and Donruss and everything else. It's hard to sometimes keep it all straight in my head as to what is what. Our chrome variations, that's something I forgot about. So our base chrome variation like this one is numbered to 999. We may occasionally find some of these that are refractors. They are lower numbered. I want to say it's to 599, but we'll flip it when we get to it, and that would tell us, of course, for sure if that were the case. And there's a hot box possibility. And the hot box would be purple parallels of chrome, 1 per pack, and those are completely unnumbered. Our hit here is a good one. It is Urias for the Padres. So nice little ink coming out here for the very first hit of the night. I like that plan. Randy's here. Hi, Randy. And Steve CMD is here. Steve Reddick, we said hi to a minute ago. Steve CMD has joined us as well. So hi to you, Steve CMD. And Baron Von Fancy, you said what now? Oh, Sign of the Dimes said the black. I thought the black borders were typically numbered to 50. But you said black to 70. Or are you talking about the chrome variations? Are you talking about the paper black border? Or are you talking about chrome? Because then right below you, Baron Von Fancy says it's out of 567. So at any rate, the black border cards are usually not numbered in the paper format, but traditionally have been numbered to 50. And so that would be my, they tell us, they don't number them, but they tell us, they produced 50 or whatever. So news flashbacks, this is what I was talking about a while ago. Those will all set up there, and they will go as an entire group to one team, which will be determined at the end of the break using random.org. So that's how that will roll with our news flashbacks, because we'll have a little stack of them, probably 10 or 12 or something. See, I thought you guys were talking about two different things there. Yeah, okay. So you were talking about the chrome, and I had said it was to 599 if it was a refractor. I think you guys say it's 567, so sorry about that. Sounds like I was off a few numbers there in terms of what I was thinking. And Sign of the Dimes, you said you were talking about the chrome black version being to 70. I was actually speaking about the paper black border that is typically unnumbered, but traditionally Topps will announce those have been a print run of about 50. So I imagine that's going to be the same. So I have these little scratch-off games. You can see the fold of those always has a big crease in it and a lot of wear, whether you open it or whether you don't. But that's because it's, perforated there in the fold. But they're kind of fun, and that particular one is Paul Goldschmidt for the Diamondbacks. We'll find a few of those little game scratch-off things there as we go along through here tonight with our heritage. Okay, there is box number 1. With our hit was a good one out of there too, so I always like when we start off strong. Usually means it's going to be a pretty good case, we would think anyway. I always wish that they would release Heritage and Donruss Baseball a little farther apart, but they almost always release them practically right on top of one another. And it's also when football's getting ready to wrap up and basketball is kind of just almost ramping up, even though the regular NBA season is not ramping up. It's more, we're closer to the end than the beginning of that. The way they do the NBA trading cards is so strange. You're really almost at the kind of not even the midway point yet, kind of at the half, not even, the early part of the NBA trading card season. It's this time of year they just put a lot of stuff out, and it's often, piles up on you. It gets hard to break it all. So Al Kaline for the Detroit Tigers is our oversized card. That's our box topper out of this box. And of course, I'm sure probably everyone knows, but on the off chance someone doesn't know, that signature there is a facsimile signature. So it's just printed on there. It's not actually signed there on that K line. So for anybody who might be interested in knowing that, and is this going to be our hot box? Yeah, it is. So we may as well just go ahead and do our purple chrome, because we're going to have a bunch of purple chrome, and they are not numbered, but that is the only place you get them, is in the hot box. Another scratch off game. That one's Mike Trout for the Angels. So yeah, it means one per pack. We will have ourselves a little purple chrome parallel as we go along through here. So Mariners and Rays have the first couple of them. And there's my man Joey Votto. Gets that one. Another Then and Now. Again, I know those are both Mets, but it's really just almost easier for me if I just keep all the Then and Now stacked over there together so that I don't lose any of them. Sign of the dimes, yeah, the traded variation is, as you say, very rare. It's much like the throwback jersey. It's extremely hard to pull. We were fortunate enough to pull one throwback jersey out of the very first break of this we did this year. And I honestly, I set it aside as a variation and didn't even pay attention to the particular code that was on it. And, you know, so I had announced it as a variation in the break, but didn't announce it specifically as throwback because I didn't catch it till I was sorting. And I'm like, oh man, that's the throwback. It's like 1 in every 35 cases or something. So yeah, maybe we will get lucky enough to find a traded version as well. Also, as you say, super rare. That's the Blue Jays with Lourdes Gurriel for Toronto. Then we have Aguilar for the Brewers. And our hit for this box is a relic, Steven Strasburg and the Nationals. So I guess everybody heard by now Bryce Harper walked out for his at-bat today for the Phillies with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as his soundtrack. How funny is that? Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers. I thought that was hilarious. He says he may not keep it for the regular season, but that's he's undecided. But I thought that was too funny. The Red Sox, there's Chris Sale with a hot box purple parallel. Pitching leaders, so we've got another thing up there in housekeeping. Our little area grows up there. It was Matt Carpenter for the Cardinals. For the Tampa Bay Rays, it is Blake Snell. Here's our black border paper. So again, not numbered, but they are low print runs. Carl Edwards Jr. for the Cubbies, little Chicago Cubbies. Going home with the black border there. Marte for the Pirates. And you know, I think in the last case, we actually had the hot box in the first half too. How interesting. Of course, that's one of the reasons, you know, you use random is to literally make it completely random as to which ones are opened in any given half of the break. But both times, coincidentally, it ended up with our hot box coming out in the first half. The Yankees and Aaron Judge, and there is a news flashbacks. Astros, Garrett Cole. Jose Ramirez for the Indians. I think I heard somebody say that the Royals picked up a catcher today or this weekend. Is that right? Does anybody know who it was? Because obviously Salvador Perez, you know, got hurt here in preseason. Carlos Correa. And UCL, man, he's got to have Tommy John. He's gone for the year. That was the A's with Manaea. So I've been wondering what they were going to do for a catcher in Kansas City. And I think they said, I heard somebody say they signed someone, but I missed who it said that they signed. I don't know if anybody else heard or not, but apparently they've got somebody anyway. But we are right around the corner from opening day, not too far off. Seems like it's been a long off season for baseball, doesn't it? I mean, a lot of times it feels like it's a really short window, but for this season, for whatever reason, it feels like it's been a really long window since we played the World Series. So now it hasn't been, of course, but it just seems like it. Hey, Echo, I will definitely do that for you, man. No worries, no worries. We'll get you. I will keep you in the loop. The Dodgers, Walker Buehler. Baron, you said they signed, Martin Maldonado. Huh, I would not have expected that. Steve says to a 1-year contract, $2.5 million. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess at that price. Jose Barrios for the Twins. Guess it's good to have something there. A little Tony Rizzo for the Cubbies with an action image variation. Always good to find those. For the Phillies, Rhys Hoskins purple. Well, you would think, wouldn't you really, that Cam Gallagher would start over Maldonado? But I don't know. I guess it'll all depend on how they play, how they hit, as much as anything. White Sox Rookie Stars purple parallel hot box. Pirates Chris Archer. Every time I see that Moustakas card, I always want to think that that's an action image just because of the background of it. Trevor Bauer, Indians. Another Then and Now. That one, Cardinals and Brewers. And a hot box Gleyber Torres for the Yankees. Hot box for the Mets. Diaz. And there's box number 2 of 6. I have not seen any of the nickname variations or any French variations. No, I haven't. But you know, it's only my 3rd break of Heritage. As I mentioned, there's just been so much stuff that has come out, and we usually have a lot of quantity of everything, anywhere from, 4 to 6, sometimes 7, 8 or more cases of things. And when a lot of base card heavy stuff comes out kind of quickly or in close proximity, it's hard to get it all broken. So I haven't really broken a ton of Heritage yet. This is only our 3rd break of it. So we've got a ways to go because I've got, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 cases of it or something in total. So we'll be doing 8 to 10 breaks of it. And this is only number 3. So we'll just be mixing them in here and there. Our box loader here, oh, nice, except for the fact that, it's all beat up. But it's a Harmon Killebrew for the Twins, the original 1970 card. And just like our other one, terribly miscut, all kinds of soft corners and issues, 50th anniversary stamp. Definitely a well-loved, well-traveled little card. But again, they just put those in there kind of as a little feel-good kind of thing, I think. Give us a little something extra is the idea. But have you all seen a lot of the nickname variations coming out? I've had a team color, maybe 1 or 2 team colors, definitely 1. I don't remember if I had one in the first half of the break or not. We had the 1 throwback, and then of course, you get a handful of action image out of every case, and loads of just the base short print. The high numbers of the set are all short print. Baron, you said the worst box toppers are the Topps team ones, which has the marketing team on a card. Oh, I'm not sure if I've seen what that is then. You haven't seen any nicknames, but you have seen some French ones. Okay, well, that's cool. Cool. Yeah, I haven't seen the Topps marketing team on a card, so that's what I'm saying. I'm not exactly sure what what that is. Like, I don't think you're talking about literally employees of Topps, I'm assuming, right? On a card, but I haven't seen that one. So that's why I'm like thinking, I can't think what that is. Maybe I've seen it and I don't remember it, but I don't think I've seen it. I don't know. Baron says, I don't want to see it. It's bad, huh? Okay. Not a card that we are a fan of then. All right. Well, hopefully we won't find that then. We won't put that out in the universe because we don't want to find it if it's a crappy card. We'd rather stick to the fun stuff. I mean, I'd rather have a beat-up Harmon Killebrew than that, it sounds like. You say I would definitely know it if I saw it. All right, then I'm going to assume I haven't seen it because it definitely does not ring a bell with me. I don't believe we have had the pleasure of finding the Topps marketing team. It's kind of weird, though. Why would they even put that in there? Do you think that's a little weird? Is that anything? No, I guess it's not. Well, it might be, but it was not. News flashbacks goes up there in our little happy housekeeping pile, which is always quite large by the end of the break, all the things that end up there. Wonder why they would even put that in there. That would seem a strange thing to even include. Like, who would really want to collect that except the people that are on it and their families, you know? Like, I don't know. Of course, they do some weird things. Like put in the, especially in archives, you know, where you get the stats guy and you got the super fan and the guy who goes around and gets all the foul balls at the ballpark. I can't think of his name. But there's always unexpected things like that in archives. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised that they have a box loader with the Topps employees in Heritage, right? Steve, you said Saturday Night Live is replaying the Luke Perry episode where he hosted. Ah, that was a shame about him. He's young, too. 50-something. 52, maybe, was it? 50-something. Might not have been 2, but 50-something. Died of a stroke. That is crazy. Just think about how young he was and have that happen. I think I just saw a news headline flash across there that said Murray State won the Ohio Valley Conference Championship. If so, that means they're headed to the tournament. That'd be the first official ticket punched, I guess, for the NCAA tournament. Of course, a lot of conferences are just now finishing up their regular season, SEC being one of them. So you've got, I've always thought that odd. Some conferences are playing their tournaments right now, and other conferences are just finishing their regular season. A black border for the Rockies, David Dahl. Hopefully he'll be back healthy and hammering away again. He's got a lot of potential, but he's had a bit of a hard way to go in terms of his ability to stay on the field. Oh, he was 52. Okay. So, yeah. So I had that. I was thought 52, and then I'm like, the 2 might not be right. I knew it was 50-something. So, oh, Steve, that's the same age as you. Yeah, probably. That's, you know, it's nerve-wracking to think about someone in your own age bracket that has something like that happen. Makes it a little more... hits home a little more. Now this is, I guess, a short print here that I managed to catch as it went through. Numbered to 450. I told you every once in a while I'll recognize one when it goes through, but I haven't sorted enough to remember most of them when they go through. But again, they're cards from anything 401 and upward is a base short print. And there are lots and lots and lots of them. Scratch off game, Syndergaard and the Mets. And ERA leaders. So that's kind of cool that Saturday Night Live, you know, replaying his episode as a tribute, I guess. Chris Bryant and the Cubbies with the Clubhouse Collection relic managed to barely squeeze in a little pinstripe for us there over on the edge for Chicago. Steve, you said there are lots of people who have died that are in that particular episode of Saturday Night Live. Well, that's kind of eerie, too, in and of itself, isn't it? A little bit. Excuse me. The Mets with Jacob deGrom, and that is a base short print. Alrighty, that is our halfway point. 3 boxes down, 3 boxes to go. Oh yeah, Chris Farley and the guy whose wife shot him. Who's the guy whose wife shot him? I can't think who that is. Baron, I don't know yet when I'm going to break the other half of this case. I don't have it scheduled yet. It'll probably be about a week or so. I'm only averaging right now working Heritage in about once a week. But once we get a little bit more football wrapped up, which we've got National Treasures this upcoming week, we've got National Treasures. And once we get that wrapped up, we'll only have Flawless and Honors left, I guess. We might have a little bit of a break before they'll start the 2019 football, so it's possible that I could get, a little bit more worked in then. So this is the Pirates, another buyback card, same as all the others. Heavily worn, well-loved, and terribly miscut, which was the order of the day. Back in the 60s and the 70s, everything was cut like crap and not even close to centered. Oh, the guy who looked like an anchor. What was that guy's name? Hartman. It wasn't Chris Hartman. No, what was that guy's name? I didn't remember that his wife shot him, actually. Huh. Well, that was crazy. Yeah, Baron, I will hopefully next weekend, somewhere along in there is probably where we'll see Heritage run through again. And then maybe the following week we might be able to get it worked in a couple of times. Because I will have to do, well, we'll have 8 or 10 Heritage breaks in total, however they stretch themselves out. Some years I kind of bunch them together more, and some years I spread them out more. This is one of the spread them out kind of years. Always depends on what is around it at any given time. Release-wise, I mean. Of course, we do have Leaf Valiant baseball. It's going to show up on Tuesday. I mean, how strange, right? They made a Tuesday release of it. But it was originally supposed to have come out, I guess, what, this past Wednesday maybe was its first. And then they had said no, it would be the Friday. And then finally they moved it to Tuesday. So Tuesday, Leaf Valiant baseball will come out. And, of course, the Leaf has a lot of different products, but the Valiant product has, of course, the autograph cards that you come to expect from Leaf. They don't have base cards in there. It's all autographs, all hits. But there will be one of them in Valiant that will be graded 9.5 or higher. We do occasionally pull Black Label 10s out of it. And out of Valiant, and it should have a pretty good checklist. I haven't seen it yet, obviously. You know how Leaf is with that sort of thing, but I would expect it to have a very similar checklist to our others. And that's another short print, Joey Votto. My man, Joey Votto. But if the checklist is similar to the other Leaf products this year, which I assume it will be, got a lot of nice, young, good prospects in there. And really, the Leaf stuff, pretty, comparatively speaking, you can pull the big name hits out of it with more regularity than you're going to out of other things. I think that's largely a factor of low production. So they don't run nearly the number of cases that Topps would run or Panini would run. And then therefore, you know, they can afford to have us a few more, have our big names show up a bit more often. Have a few more of them per case than you do with maybe a Topps or a Panini. So we'll look forward to getting into a little Valiant baseball next week. And it's fairly quick to break too, all things considered. Phil Hartman. Yeah. That's it. It was Phil. I could not think of that first name, but yeah, Phil Hartman. That's correct. I did not know his wife shot him. Huh. I probably knew it, I guess, at some point. I guess when it happened or whatever, I probably knew it. But it had definitely escaped my mind. I wasn't thinking of that at this point in time. Yeah, that was just a base. And that is also just a base. Scratch off game. Marlins, Starlin Castro. Our throwback jersey was a Marlin. That one we pulled out of the first break. Not, you know, out of case one. Literally out of break one, which was out of case one, obviously. Chris Iannetta. Our black border here. For the Rockies, Colorado. Baron, you're asking, in Prism Basketball, did I pull any Luka cards? Oh boy, that has been a while since I opened Prism Basketball, and I do not know. We have definitely pulled Luka a number of times out of various products, but specifically out of Prism, I could not tell you. I know that's bad, right? But I don't remember. I do, however, have more Prism. I've got first off the line Prism that we'll do something with. I've got Prism's Choice, the international one that's, I mean, the cards look just like ours, but it's basically a product of Prism without the base is the easiest way I know to describe it. So I've got some of that. I've got some blasters. We've got some retail. We're going to be doing some all Prism basketball mixers. I mean, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. I've got some fat packs. This is David Price and the Red Sox. You know, it's just one more thing I've got to find time to do. I got to find time to create the listing and take the pictures and the time to break it. Yeah, exactly. You know, I keep some of this stuff sitting there to remind me that I need to get it worked into things, and also because it fills up the space. And like I think, if I take that out and break it, then I got to find something else to fill up that space. I know that's terrible, isn't it? It is terrible. But yeah, that's just a leftover. That one's actually just a regular hobby box. That's not even a first off the line. That's just an extra box that one of my distributors said, hey, I've got one extra box left over. You know, I usually get just case or half case quantities. Oftentimes, if they want to give me, say, a case and 3 boxes, a lot of times I'll just say, just give me the case and, you know, give the 3 boxes to somebody else. But there's some products, if they give me a case and odd lot boxes, I'll take the odd lot. And on Prism Basketball, he said, you know, he'd sent me the case, and then somebody had a 1-box allocation, and they didn't want it or take it or whatever. And he said, do you want it? And I was like, well, sure, it's Prism, you know. So sure. I'll take it, send it on. I'll put it in with something. So that's just been sitting there to remind me. I'm going to get that Origins worked in too. It is first off the line 2018 Origins football sitting back there. I've got all that Topps Chrome Sapphire, mainly because I kind of want to break it myself, but I know I should do a break with it, but I really kind of want to open it myself. And so I haven't done either because I haven't talked myself into or out of either option. Every time I think I'm ready to list it to break it, I think, ooh, I really want to open it myself. And then every time I think, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and open it, I think, oh, I really should break it. So I'm just kind of stuck. I'm stuck in limbo. I can't decide which way I want to go. There is the Angels as our little box topper, and that's the super size, oversized card. And of course, once again, I'm sure everyone knows that the signature on that is a facsimile printed signature. That is not at all an actual Mike Trout signature on there. You said, how big is the difference in first off the line and not first off the line? In terms of grading, oh gosh, I mean, frankly, you never know on any given box of cards, first off the line or otherwise, what you're going to get from a grading perspective. I mean, we've talked about this before. The rep was, I don't remember if it was the rep for Topps or the rep for Panini, but one of the reps told the guy who used to own our local card store, he's recently sold it, but he owned it for 20 years up until a few months ago, told him that the average grade that the card company, expects you to get on any given card pulled out of a pack is an 8. So, like, they know their cards are not going into the packs 10s, you know? They expect their average grade to be an 8. But no, the first off the line stuff is, the first off the line stuff always has something unique in it. And it will depend on the product as to what it is. So sometimes it might be like just a numbered parallel, but it's always low numbered, right? So it might be that you get an extra, or you get a parallel of a card numbered to 10. Or sometimes it is an autograph parallel where it will be, a color you can't get in the regular, or will be numbered lower than you can get in the regular, or that kind of thing. It's always got some content in it that is exclusive to first off the line, but it will definitely vary from product to product. If I remember right, now don't absolutely quote me on this because I've had that for a while, but I believe that first off the line Origins, that the content is a parallel numbered to 13 maybe, and then an autograph parallel numbered to 32 maybe, like a gold parallel numbered to 32. I will have to double check that though. Don't absolutely assume that that's 100% correct, but I think that's correct. And then, of course, there's first off the line Select Basketball, which I just got in this week. So I've got that down there. I've still got first off the line Prism. I don't remember, frankly, on either one of those exactly what the first off the line content was. I'll have to look that up when I do get ready to break it, I guess. And then there's some first off the line National Treasures football that I think is maybe a red, white, and blue autograph parallel, something like that. Ooh, a black border ERA leaders. Oh, the plot thickens. Yeah, so it will go up here also, of course, in our housekeeping because it's got multiple teams on the cards. So it's going to set up there in that little area as well. But that always makes it a little more interesting, a little more skin in the game when we've got a variation or a parallel in one of our multi-team cards. Oh, Baron, you are quite welcome. I mean, I am always happy to share any info that I have on stuff. Sometimes I know it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have to look it up. This is the Dodgers Clayton Kershaw scratch-off game. The price difference, it depends. Again, I know this always sounds so weird, but it depends on the product. But basically, they charge you, you have to get it directly from Panini. It is extremely hard to get. It will typically sell out in 60 seconds or less. No kidding, 60 seconds or less. It didn't used to be. They've only started first off the line. When did they start it? In 2017, I want to say. Like late in 2017, maybe. But it used to be that you could get first off the line a little easier. And then people kind of clued in that like, oh, there's this extra content, whatever. Now it is nearly impossible to get stuff. And there have been several times recently where I've had it in my cart. And as I'm typing in my credit card information, it sells out before I can get even that typed in. Because all my other information is stored. So this last time, in other words, for Contenders Optic, I had it in my cart. I had the case in my cart. Took me 30 seconds maybe, and another 30 seconds to try and get checked out, and it's sold out in between. So Panini charges you the full retail price, so it can vary by product. Well, looky there, we did get ourselves a little red ink. So you were calling for some red ink a while ago, and by golly, we got some. And that, of course, is numbered to 70. It's for the Indians, and that is pretty sweet little hit right there, huh? Not too bad at all. I'm kind of loving that, because that's, you know, your original card there. Well, I guess it's not technically the original. It's a reprint of it, because if it was the original, it wouldn't say Topps Certified Autograph Issue on it, but it is a reprint of the original 1970 card for the Indians there with your red ink SIG. So nice little hit indeed. But I'm trying to think like recently what was on. I'm trying to think what the most recent first off the line thing was. I guess it was Contenders Optic. But I can't remember what the price difference was a box. It was maybe like another, I don't know, close to probably about another $250, $300 a case or something on average. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less to get the first off the line. But the price is never the issue. It's the availability that is the issue. News flashbacks. Another one of those too. I have a baseball flashback sitting up there. He's not even supposed to be up there. I gotta move him back. Only news flashbacks go up there in that little pile. I just had him sitting in the wrong spot. Briefly. I'm kind of surprised really that Topps hasn't started a first off the line thing, but I guess in their own way they have, sort of. Because they have exclusive stuff. I mean, it's not exactly first off the line. And the reason they call it first off the line, Bear, and I probably didn't even say that, is because technically you receive it before the release date. This is numbered to $9.99 for the Tigers. Miggy. So it goes on sale prior to the normal on sale date. And they ship it early and you get it. Depending on what part of the country you live in, I've heard of some people getting it as early as like a Saturday prior to a Wednesday release. But most people, I think, get it either Monday or Tuesday prior to, say, a Wednesday release. Or if it's a scheduled Friday release, you might get it on, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere in there. So that's kind of the deal, and that's why they call it first off the line. It was pretty smart on their part, though. I mean, minor changes and they make a lot more money, so. So nobody's going to argue with that, right? Making more money. Yeah, they're happy to do that. Shohei Ohtani and the Angels with a little action image variation. Always nice to hit Shohei. I'd say we'll probably see him back May or June-ish. Would be my guess. The hitting, not throwing. I mean, obviously, he's not going to pitch again until 2020 after Tommy John, but hitting again probably May or June, I'm thinking. My favorite baseball player. Oh, my favorite baseball player. That's easy. It's actually shared. No, I talk about this all the time. So my regulars, they could probably type it in and answer it for you because I say it all the time. But my two favorite baseball players ever of all time, they're equally loved. Johnny Bench and Hank Aaron. I know, right? Throwbacks. But, you know, modern players, oh, there's plenty of modern players I like. But Johnny Bench and Hank Aaron, I love those guys. They are by far my two all-time favorite ever are those two. So that's an easy question. And I'm a Reds fan, so, you know, Big Red Machine days of the 70s, all that stuff makes me happy too. The Cubbies. We got another buyback with Bill Hands. Wow, look at that. I mean, that's like the worst cut of all of the ones we've seen, and we've seen some really poorly miscut cards, but that one's the worst of all. That is terrible. That is just terrible. Oh yeah, it's a wonder, you know, that we have any cards from the older releases that ever grade out to anything decent, considering that most of them looked like that. Have I hit any Salvador Perez All-Star cards? I don't think so. But that's not to say for certain one way or the other, but I don't think so. Johnny, you said your Hank Aaron rookie card is your most prized possession. Well, I should say so. I've got a Johnny Bench rookie card that I love. So I collected cards when I was young. When I was, I don't know, probably 9, 10, 11, whatever. I was always taking my allowance and going to the grocery store. Had, you know, sold them in the little checkout racks, and I was always buying packs of cards, and I kept them in shoe boxes. Right? Can you imagine these days? But but yeah, I kept them in shoe boxes, and I loved my cards, and I kept them for years and years. And when I went to college, I finally just thought, you know, what am I doing here with all these cards? You know how you get to a certain age, and so I sold them all as one big group to somebody, and I had tons of cards from the 70s in there. Lots of cards from like the mid to late 70s. But I did have some earlier ones too, because I had cousins that used to collect, and they were older than I, and I would get cards from them sometimes. And it's one of them that traded me for a Johnny Bench rookie card. And that's one of the few cards that I did not sell. When I sold off my big collection, I kept a handful of cards, like maybe, I don't know, 10 cards or something. And the Johnny Bench rookie is one of the ones I kept. But it's, oh man, it's like beat up. You know, it's not graded or anything, because my cousins had already had it, and, you know, they were handling it all over the place, and then I got it. Of course, I loved it, so I carried it around and whatnot. So it's not like the kind of thing that would grade well, but I love that thing. Makes me happy. Kyle Schwarber and the Cubbies is our final relic out. Here out of box number 6 of 6 tonight that we are working on. Steve, yours are Rod Carew and pitchers you saw, like Steve Carlton and Randy Johnson. That's cool. Well, this that we're looking at is actually the 1970s. This is actually 1970, so it would have been last year's Heritage was 1969 with that nice little wood grain border. Or was that 68 that had the wood grain border? You know what I'm talking about. It's not technically wood grain, but I don't know how to describe it, but that little kind of beigeish border with little flecks in it. But anyway, this year's set is 1970. So no, Johnny was a rookie in the 68 or 9, I think. Francisco Lindor, action image variation for the Indians. Mike, you're asking what state I'm breaking in. Do you mean my mental state? No, I know what you mean. I don't know. I just thought, oh, my mental state. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I am in Kentucky. That's probably why I'm a Reds fan, right? Yeah. My whole family Reds fans. My sister, her favorite player was and is to this day Pete Rose. And in fact, we had a rousing debate around the family dinner table. That is just a base short print. With my dad, my stepmom, my sister, my brother-in-law, and myself. Just this past Christmas, we got into a big debate over whether or not Pete Rose should be allowed into the Hall of Fame. And of course, I liked Pete Rose, but Johnny Bench was my man out of, Big Red Machine. Hers was Pete Rose. So we had some interesting discussion at the holiday dinner table about Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. So gives you a little insight into what my family is like. But my mom doesn't really follow baseball much. My mom likes basketball and football, but she's not as big of a baseball fan. My sister doesn't really follow baseball much anymore, but she used to a lot. And she doesn't care for football a whole lot, and she likes basketball a whole lot. And Dad's like me. He likes all three. So we come by it honest. The whole family kind of gets into sports, and we definitely have some spirited conversations about it, to say the least. Trevor Story, Rockies, chrome parallel to $9.99 that doesn't want to go into the sleeve. Giving me a little grief there. Didn't know better. You'd think it was a kid, right? Refusing to do it. Wood grain, thank you. That's what did I call it? I didn't call it wood grain, did I? I called it something, or did I call it wood grain? Well, anyway, you know the one I'm talking about. I described it, even though I may have called it the wrong name. So, and that is the one that is the Johnny Bench rookie. That little border that I tried to describe a while ago, like tan with the little flecks in it. So the 68 or 69 set, whichever one it was. You said you missed the start of this. Are the 401 to 500 short prints are here? Yeah, I mean, I'm not aware of this set having any issues with short prints. We pull a ton of 401 to 500 short prints out of everything. And actually, yes, I did mention at the top of the break that I would not catch most of them live. I'll catch most of them when I sort. I've caught a handful of them live, but most of those I will catch when I sort because they're very, very plentiful. And out of the first case, I mean, we had a zillion of them. There are lots of them. You might be thinking about Top Series 1. Now, Top Series 1 had a big hot mess with their short prints, as in there were none in the jumbos. They left them out completely. SSPs were in the jumbos, but not traditional short prints, but super short prints you could find in the jumbos. But the SPs somehow got left out of the jumbos entirely and ended up only in hobby. And maybe retail, but I mean, I didn't keep up with what was going on with retail. And see, there's another example of one that we actually did manage to catch live in, say, card 434 there. So 401 and onward are just base short prints, or I tend to call them high short prints because they are the high number cards in the set, but you get the idea. Houston Astros, that's another one for Jose Altuve. Steve, you said that there was a Perez that went by that was a high, one of the high number short prints. Yeah, I'll definitely catch it in sorting. I mean, what happens is after we get done here with the live break, I sit right here at this little table and I do a first pass through everything. There's Molina and the Cardinals, and everything then gets put in its top loaders, and the things that didn't get sleeved as we went get sleeved after the fact. I go through and pull out any of those base card short prints because there's loads of them in there that haven't been set aside as we go and I'm aware of that. So the action image had been set aside, our box loaders, you guys know the drill. But for sure, anything that's in there is gonna come up in sorting, and all the cards ship anyway, so no worries. Anything you have seen is going to be headed your way if you have that particular team. All right, so we do have some housekeeping chores to take care of, and we're going to get that done here in a moment. Let me get a few things organized in terms of what we're going to do for recap real quickly here, and then we'll work on that in a moment. So we've got our box loaders, of course, our little stack of hits. We've got all kinds of fun things that we're going to recap here in a little while. But before we get to that point, there is the matter of all of this to deal with. So we're going to start off with the news flashbacks. That's these cards right here. And they are going to all go to one team as one group. And I want to find a little bag to put them in here because I like to label it up as I go. And then that way I do not have to go back and later watch the video to say, oh, what team got that in random? So we're going to get them all packaged up. And I'm going to grab a Sharpie. Oh, actually, I've got one laying there. Good. I thought ahead tonight. How about that? And give this divvied up. And here's how it works. I'm going to bring you along with me for the ride here. It's pretty easy. We're just going to grab all the team names here onto the clipboard and then roll ourselves over to random.org, which we used earlier to determine which boxes we were going to open. So we're just back visiting here one more time. I'm going to drop all the teams in here just by pasting them in. We'll scroll through them so you can see that all the teams are in there as you would expect them to be. I'm going to hit random one single time. Whoever ends up in the number 1 position is going to end up with that card, or that group of cards. So St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals are taking home this little package of news flashbacks cards. Now, obviously, you saw me put this in the bag, so you know that this is not writing on the card itself, but writing on the plastic bag. But I always point that out, because if I don't, sure as I don't, somebody will come back later and say, oh, you wrote on that. But I didn't, I promise. Okay, now we're going to deal with the then and now cards. So, of course, 2 different teams on most of these. Some of them do have the same team, but I left them all stacked together because it's just easier for me to keep them in one spot. So we're going to go left-hand side, right-hand side, okay? And that's what I'm going to type into random.org here in a minute. Because I have only 2 items in my list, I will do random 3 different times. And when I have 10 or more items in a list, I do random only once. Anytime I have less than that, so that means 9 or fewer, I do random 3 times. And at that point, only the 3rd random will count. So the first 2 don't count. The 3rd one makes the decision. And I'm going to be just simply typing in left and right. So ignore the first one. You can ignore the second one. There comes our 3rd and final. And maybe we did. Yeah, there we go. It does say 3 times. So that went so fast, I didn't even see it. 3 times, date and time stamp. It comes up the left-hand side of the card. So I'm just going to grab one of these off of the top here from this stack and put it in there so that I can circle on the sleeve to know that it is going to the team on the left. Of course, circle on the sleeve, not on the card. So that means Twins, Red Sox, Mets, Cardinals, 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 Orioles, Orioles, and Reds. And again, I know some of those had the same team on both the left and the right, but it's just as easy for me to keep them all together. Makes it a little simpler from my standpoint. Now we have this stack. There's various leaders in here, but the reason these are stacked together is because each of them have 3 teams or 3 positions on the card. So in this case, I'm going to go to random and I'm going to type in 1, 2, and 3. So position 1, obviously the big picture at the top. Position 2 means lower left. Position 3 means lower right. So I'm going to type in 1, 2, 3. We're going to do random again. And again, it will be the third random will be the determining factor. Okay, so you can ignore the first one and don't pay attention to the second one either. And here comes our third one. There's our third date timestamp. Comes up as position number 2. So that means the lower left-hand corner is position number 2. I'm going to circle that on the one that I just put in the sleeve. And then we'll take a quick look so you can see where each of those go. All right, so this one, of course, is that one was the Red Sox. You've got the Indians, the Reds, Mets, Phillies, Red Sox, A's, Reds, A's, Red Sox. This one, our black border one, goes to the Indians with Trevor Bauer. That one's Martinez and Chris Davis, and Red Sox again, bunch of Red Sox, Reds, Mets, Indians, Phillies, Indians, Astros, Indians, Mets, Indian, Philly, and Astro. So that's how those league leader cards that have 3 teams on them are to be distributed. And we've got a couple of different configurations here, so let me get them matched up. That should have actually been in our other stack, so that's going to go to the Indians, Corey Kluber. Obviously, we've already done that particular grouping. Now, this one we've got 4 teams, same thing, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are what each of those numbers represent. All right. Ignore the first one and the second one. Here comes our third and final. 3 times our date and time stamp. It gives us position number 4 on the card, which is the lower right-hand corner. So that means I always just demonstrate that it's on the sleeve, just to do it that way. So we've got Brewers, and Brewers. That's how the home run leaders have gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those are how your bidding positions are going to be typed in. These all, yeah, they are different cards. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to do the exact same thing that you just saw me do with the others. All right, first one doesn't count, second one doesn't count, third one right there, date and time stamp, also goes to bidding position number 4. How about that? So in that case, that means lower left, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 4 is the lower left corner in this little stack of multi-team cards. So Freeland there on the one on the top for the Rockies. And then you have the Brewers, the Rockies, the Brewers, and the Brewers. So that's how all of our multi-team cards are awarded, and that should have those all finished up for tonight. We know what's what with them. Now we can recap a little bit. These are to 999. And it is the Rockies, the Tigers, and the Cubbies. Each of those chrome parallels numbered to 999. The box toppers, the oversized box toppers, you've got a Mike Trout for the Angels and a K-Line for the Tigers. They are both with facsimile signatures printed on there. Obviously, those are not actually hard signed. Some more box toppers. These are our original 1970 cards, buyback cards, with just updated with the 50th anniversary stamp. They all have varying degrees of wear. Most of them, the corners are terrible, the edges are terrible. Some of them have some creases and bends and things on those edges and corners, and they're generally speaking just, original 1970 cards, so they're not in great shape, but they're fun, so for what that's worth. I usually recap the scratch-offs. I don't know why, I just do, because there's not that many of them. Molina for the Cardinals, Kershaw for the Dodgers, Starlin Castro, Marlins, Syndergaard for the Mets, Mike Trout for the Angels, Goldschmidt for the Diamondbacks. Then we have some short print, high number short prints, or whatever you want to call them, 401s and up. Jose Altuve for the Astros. There's Piscotty for the A's, the Pirates, the Reds, the Mets, the Phillies. Listen, there's a bunch more of them. I know that's not nearly all the ones that we found. Those are just the ones that caught my eye when we were going through live. There'll be tons more of those. I will find them when I sort on those. If anything 401 and higher is a base card or a base short print. Lindor for the Indians is an action image variation. Shohei Ohtani for the Angels is an action image variation. We have a black border Ionetta for the Rockies. Those are not numbered, but generally considered, I believe, to have a print run of about 50. For the Rockies, that is David Dahl. Rockies with a pair of black borders. An Anthony Rizzo action image variation for the Cubbies, a black border Carl Edwards for the Cubbies, and an image variation for Mookie Betts and the Red Sox. Now our hits are, well, those are hits too, but our autograph and relic hits, I should say. Kyle Schwarber for the Cubbies with a Clubhouse Collection relic. And the Indians with a red ink signature there, numbered to 70. This is a reprint of that original 1970 card there with Louis Klimchak, however you say his name. David Price, Red Sox Clubhouse Collection relic. That's Chris Bryant, Clubhouse Collection for the Cubbies with a little pinstripe on it. Steven Strasburg in the Nationals with a relic. And this is a really nice hit for the Padres with Urias, a little hard-signed autograph there for the San Diego Padres. Okay, so that is the break for tonight and the recap. What I will do now is put up the shipping information, and we'll take another quick look at the breaks that are coming up in the days ahead. If anybody missed either of those things at the top of the break, you're going to get a shot at it right now here again at the end. So once again, Heritage, I'm anticipating to be on the way to you no later than Wednesday. It may very well go sooner than that, but I don't believe it would be any later than Wednesday. And we don't have to worry about consolation cards in Heritage because, yeah, you saw, there's a lot of cards over there. Every team pulled some cards. Everybody's getting a package. The autographed basketball jersey will be on the way no later than a week from today, Saturday the 16th. That is just because it's a free shipping break. I always project those out to be no later than a week after the fact. They quite often go sooner than that. If you didn't get pulled in the jersey break, your consolation card, normally I would hold on to until your next package ships just because it's a free shipping break. If you want it sent sooner, you just let me know and I will take care of it for you. Now, you might notice here on the stuff that's coming up in the days ahead, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I messed something up, kids. I forgot when I was listing this stuff over the last 4 days that daylight savings time takes effect tonight in the overnight hours. So stuff that I thought was ending at like 8:30 and 8:45 for a 9:30 break, guess what? It's really ending at like 9:30 and 9:40 and 9:45 for what should have been a 9:30 start. Obviously, I can't start it at 9:30 if all the auctions haven't even ended by 9:30. So, even though the auction description says 9:30, we're probably not actually going to get started until about 9:45-ish. give or take 5 minutes. I'll have to have time after everything ends to get people invoiced and to fill in those last little spots of the spreadsheet. So that's the deal for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I know it's messed up. It's my fault. But anyway, that's what we've got to work with. So tomorrow night, it's going to be a Leaf Autograph full-size football helmet, Leaf Best Basketball, and Contenders Optic Football. Monday night is encased football and a half case of Donruss baseball, which is the back half of a case. Tuesday, Valiant Baseball and Select Basketball. Wednesday, Valiant Baseball and Contenders Optic Football in a 10-box inner case. That'll be the first optic that we've done, or Contenders Optic that we've done in a 10-box inner. We have been, prior to this, doing 20-box masters, which, Sunday night, tomorrow night, will be a 20-box master. Wednesday night will be a 10-box inner. Thursday night, finally, by there, that's because by tonight I remembered about daylight savings time and got it adjusted to list earlier. We will open an autographed football jersey from Leaf. We'll open a 3-box Onyx Preferred Players autographed baseball inner case, and then another half case of Donruss baseball. So that's how we're looking from now through Thursday, and I guess that is it for me tonight. So thank you, everyone, for being here, spending part of your Saturday night with me. Always appreciate having you. I'll be back at it tomorrow night, so hopefully we'll see you again soon. Till then, take care, enjoy your weekend, and don't forget daylight savings time like I did. Takes effect at 2 a.m. tonight. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye now.